I adore Spider-Man. Peter Parker is easily my favourite fictional character of all time. Everything about classic Spider-Man speaks to me on such a deep level that not many characters even come close. His witty charm,
Alright, let me tell you the good news. We don't need the monitor.
his happy-go-lucky attitude, and his love for the people around him.
I love you, I am so proud of you.
But also his youthful angst and his self-doubt.
How do I know I'm not gonna mess it up again?
That's why Spider-Man works so well and means so much to so many. Not just the larger-than-life aspects of the character, but his flaws and how he overcomes them. Peter isn't perfect. He doesn't trust himself. He gets stressed out. He tries to do too much.
I'll hold him off, you shut this down.
But he always finds a way to rise to the occasion and save the day. He's always the underdog. So when he gets that win he's needed and hasn't gotten for 3 issues, it means something. And it makes you care. Wait. And I think no Spider-Man encapsulates these traits better than Peter B. Parker.
1 second, let me just. Oh!
Hello.
Oh, wow.
Now I've got to be clear that I am super biased toward this version of the character. Into the Spider-Verse is by far and away my favourite Spider-Man movie. I was 14 when it came out and my love for it has only grown since I first saw it. This movie and this version of Peter entered my life at the exact right moment to latch on and grow with me. I also don't want to try and say that if you disagree and even dislike this take on Peter that you're wrong. Despite what the clickbaity title of this video might suggest, I fully understand that what characters and what interpretations of those characters we enjoy is a completely subjective thing. And I don't want to try and invalidate anyone else's opinions. It is perfectly valid to like or dislike any version of Spider-Man. Someone should try telling that to Twitter. So why do I think Peter B. Parker is so good? Well, there's more than a few reasons for that. I don't think we've ever seen a version of Peter that's so cynical and dry in his sense of humour. He's constantly pointing out and making fun of the tropes and cliches that come with modern superhero movies.
Pretty sure you just called me fat.
No.
Wait a second, what did you just say?
Kingpin's trying to kill
Who
me.
cares about that? There's always a bypass key, a virus key, a who cares key I can never remember, so I always call it a goober. Give it. Come on, we don't have a second to lose. I love this burger, it's so delicious.
And that type of comedy is really refreshing in a Spider-Man story. Spidey is usually more earnest and emotional in his movies.
Sorry.
So seeing a Peter that can be a little more satirical
How many more spider people are there?
Save it for Comic-Con.
while still taking things seriously when he needs to
This guy could kill you! I can't let Spider-Man die!
is an interesting new take on the character that's just subtle enough to distinguish him from other on-screen adaptations of the character, but not too big of a change to the point of being unrecognizable. And this more cynical Peter needed a more dry voice, and Jake Johnson nails it. His voice fits the role and character design so perfectly that you kinda have to think that the writers must have been thinking of him while they were coming up with the character. And speaking of the character design, it's just perfect. Peter constantly looks beat up and tired, with a broken nose from years of fighting crime. Whoever thought that Peter Parker should be a burnt out 30-something with a bit of a chip on his shoulder deserves a raise. And I know that might seem weird coming from the guy who just said he relates to the youthfulness of the character, but we'll get back to that. But that was just some of the more superficial elements of the character. Now I want to take a look at what matters, the actual character and his role in the story. I think that making him Miles' reluctant mentor who doesn't really want to be there but has to is inspired.
So what am I doing?
Step 7. You stay here, your lookout, very important.
Look, man, you gotta teach me how to do Spider-Man stuff, or I'm not gonna be able to help.
Alright. Watch and learn, kid, I'll quiz you later.
In the books, games, and TV shows, Peter has always been ready and willing to help teach and foster another Spider-Man. So having this Peter start off so reluctant and uninterested in anything that won't get him home as quickly as possible makes for a much more interesting dynamic that serves both characters' arcs far better than what we're used to would have.
You got any Spider-Man tips you can tell me now?
Yeah, I got plenty. Disinfect the mask. You're gonna want to use baby powder in the soup, heavy on the joints. You don't want any chafing, right?
Anything else?
Nope, that was everything.
Peter's arc of going from that reluctant teacher to Miles' mentor is really well executed, because it's not about Peter learning how to be the teacher. It's about Peter learning to open himself back up again and let someone in. A lesson that most of the Ultimate Spider people have to learn before the end of the movie, and by letting the arc revolve around Peter simply learning to trust in Miles and become his friend, it's able to not only show Peter become a better teacher,
When will I know I'm ready?
You won't. It's a leap of faith. That's all it is, Miles. A leap of faith.
but a better Spider-Man.
Hold on tight!
Okay, I really don't think I can go on without touching on what very well might be my favourite moment in the entire movie, and you'll never be able to guess what it is. No, not that one. That's great, but no. Close, but still, no. My favourite moment from this entire masterpiece of a movie is a simple 5-second exchange of 2 lines of dialogue.
You look tired, Peter. Well, I am tired.
I tear up every time I watch it. This right here is the piece of the film that confirmed in my head that this is my favourite Spider-Man ever put to film. This isn't Peter saying he's a little drowsy. Peter is tired of life. He's burnt out and at the end of his rope. He's been at this wall-crawling, web-slinging, do-whatever-a-spider-canning thing for the last 2 decades, and it isn't getting any easier. The villains just keep coming, and it's the same thing over and over and over again, except Peter's getting older. Aunt May has died, his marriage to the love of his life has fallen apart, and Peter's become closed off and depressed.
With great power comes
Don't
great...
you dare finish that sentence. Don't do it. I'm sick of it.
I don't mean to get too personal, but I think what I'm about to say has a big part to play in why I love this iteration of the character so much. I hate school, like fucking hate it. And over the last couple of years, I've just become more and more burnt out. And I think that has a big part to play in why I didn't upload for months on end last year. I was just so burnt out and tired of high school and all the fuckery that comes along with that I just didn't have the energy or drive to do anything really productive. And that's what Peter's feeling in this movie. He's lost everyone and everything, and he's just
tired.
In this movie, Peter watches his own public memorial, travels to a new universe against his will, and meets a talking pig. But the one thing to make him say,
I'm not ready for this,
is seeing Aunt May again. Seeing the woman who raised him and was buried by him, standing right before his eyes.
Hey, Aunt May.
Because at this moment, she's a representation of everything he's lost, but also everything he can still get back. He can still get the people he used to love back. He can still be better. He can still do better. He can still be Spider-Man. From this moment on in the story, the overly sarcastic and cynical Peter fades away. For the rest of the runtime, we see a more traditional, hopeful, empathetic Peter. It was with Miles that Peter was able to learn how to be Spider-Man again, but only by remembering what he's lost, facing that, and learning from it, does he grow back into Peter Parker. But he's still not perfect. He's still unsure of himself. He still doesn't trust himself not to mess everything up again.
How do I know I'm not going to mess it up again?
Only for Miles to remind him that he's known what to do the whole time.
You won't.
Right. That's all it is, man. It's a leap of faith.
Peter doesn't need to be scared. He needs to take the leap.
Not bad, kid.
Peter B. Parker might not be the most comic accurate Spider-Man ever. He might not even have many of the traits that most people associate with the character. But he found me at just the right time in my life that when I look at him, I can see a reflection of myself looking back. Warts and all. And I'll always be thankful for that. Peter B has resonated with me on a deeper and more personal level than almost any character ever has. And that's why he is, and always will be, my favourite Spider-Man. So that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did making it, because I had a really fun time making this video. This character really means a lot to me, and I hope I could share some of that with you guys. If you could like the video and subscribe, that'd be really, really helpful. It really helps get my stuff out there so more people can see it. I can grow this channel. So if you could do that, that'd be really helpful. Also got a link to my Twitter and my Letterboxd in the description if you want to go check them out. I'd also be, once again, very grateful. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.